Welcome to Capital Decisions Part 5. By the end of this ACLET, you should be able to use the NPV index to help decide which investment option is more attractive when the initial investment amounts are different. You now know how to calculate the net present value of a potential investment, and if you have two or more investments that each require the same initial cash outflow, say $1 million, then the one with the highest positive NPV would be the most attractive. The problem is that rarely do all of our investment options require the exact same amount of initial cash outflow. And when the initial cash payment amounts are different, you can't just compare NPVs to pick the more attractive option. But we have a hack for this. Use the NPV index to compare your investment options. The NPV index is also sometimes called the profitability index or the PV, present value index. The formula for calculating the NPV index is the present value of the cash inflows divided by the initial cash outflow. We'll use our work from the Capital Decisions Part 4 ACLET as an example of how to calculate the NPV index, and we'll call this set of data Investment Option A for Bayside. The first piece of the NPV index is the present value of cash inflows. We happen to have these handy from our NPV calculations. Add up all of the present values of the cash inflows and we get $1,174,607. Next, we need the initial cash outflow, $1 million, which we enter in our formula as a positive amount. When we do the division, we get an NPV index of 1.17. This by itself is of limited use. If the underlying NPV was positive, the index will be greater than 1, and if the underlying NPV was negative, the index will be less than 1. But the index's best use is in comparing two options. So here is the second investment option, option B, that Bayside is considering. Note that the initial investment amount is higher for option B, $1,750,000, whereas option A only required an initial investment of $1 million, and the expected cash inflows are different as well. All of the number crunching required to calculate the NPV of option B has been done for you, so we're ready to calculate the NPV index for option B. The total of the present value of the cash inflows is $1,944,036. The initial cash outflow is $1,750,000. When we do the division, we get an NPV index of 1.11 for option B. Now let's compare the two investment options to see which is the better deal for Bayside. If we look only at the NPVs, we would choose option B since it has the higher NPV. However, because the initial cash outflows were different, comparing the NPVs is like comparing apples to oranges instead of comparing two apples to each other to see which apple is better. When we compare the two indexes, we can see that the option A has the higher index, so option A is the better option for Bayside. This concludes the ACLET Capital Decisions Part 5.